The thing is Katie always said that she heard a sound. She asked Sebastian if he was okay. He said, yes, mom, whatever. And she says, okay, take your ass to bed, essentially, right? Now, in an interview a couple days later on Fox 17, the interviewer asked her directly, can you describe the sound that you heard come from Sebastian's room? And she responded, oh, no, kind of like a thud. You know what I mean? Now, everybody took that and said, oh, my God, Katie changed her story. No, the fuck she didn't. She was asked to describe the sound that I'm wrong. So, sorry. All right, tell me I'm wrong then.
LE has never actually come out and stated that Seth Rogers was at work.
Who has it?
LE, law enforcement. Law enforcement has never one time come out and stated that Seth Rogers was at work, that Chris Proudfoot was in Memphis, and they've never come out and stated anything about where anyone was.
I'm sure. I'm pretty sure they did.
I'm pretty sure that she's right, and they didn't. They just said that they've been cooperative.
No, Linda, I know the first interview she didn't mention the thud. She mentioned a sound. She was asked to describe the sound. That's where the thud came from. Right or wrong?
It's right. I'm sorry. There was never anything mentioned about a sound at first.
She's right. Go back and listen again. I do think she said that she heard something and then asked him if he was okay.
But that was not in the first interview. Like I'm telling y'all, Duchess was the first interview that was not mentioned because it was everybody started tripping when that information came out. And it was like, I think Chris has alluded to it numerous times on like when he comes on the panel and talks and he says there were certain things that could not be told or stated in the beginning. Right. So
I'm not saying you're wrong. I got to go back and listen because listen, guys, I can be wrong sometimes too. And also these interviews can get very fucking confusing.
Yes.
So I will go back today and spend some time listening to those interviews again so that I can be more informed. But the thing is that's why we have members in here and people in here to talk about things because I'm not always right. You know what I mean? Glue's not always right. Well, Glue's normally right, but that's just because she has an I'm right attitude. But Cletus isn't always right. You know what I mean? But I'm good with being if I have something out of line. I have no problem saying, oh, okay, I had that one out of line. So nobody failed a poly. Right? One came back inconclusive, but it's not technically a fail, so we can't throw a failed poly out there. So I thought she mentioned he responded to after the sound, but like I said, I'm going to go listening because I could be wrong. So I have no problem with back and refreshing my brain.
So if I can make a suggestion for everybody in here, go and wipe your mind of all of the suspicious shit that all of us, every single one of us, have allowed to creep into our minds about the parents. And go back, because I would say it's safe to say everybody in here has said this is about finding Sebastian. We've all gotten lost in this tunnel of which parent did what. But there has been a ton of information put out there about Sebastian that we could all sit and gnaw on and chew on and consider and strictly look at that and use that to come up with theories and useful actions to help find him. I won't say who, but we had a conversation with somebody the other day and they had done that exact thing. They had taken what they had heard about Sebastian, thought about it, processed it, and came up with a damn good theory of what could have happened. And it opened my eyes so damn much too that we have absolutely gotten lost from the cause here, right? We should be sitting and talking about, hell, list out the things that we know about him, the things that have been told to us about him, and try to look at that and see what the hell it is we're missing, what we're missing that we could do and actually put to use in terms of finding it.
Well, and I think a huge part of the problem with this case is, for some reason, even I'm calling out Dolly on this one, people have got it in their heads that this was some like 4-year-old toddler who couldn't eat peas by himself. And it's like, bro, this is a 15-year-old fucking teenager. Teenagers run away, they sneak out, they are new little individuals. Like you thought you knew your kid, guess what? Shit's about to change. They become this just whole different person with their own mindset, their own wants, their own needs. And it's like, y'all think it's crazy? Y'all really think it's that crazy that a teenager could leave his house on his own accord? Why is this so strange? Especially when the cops, like True said, have issued an Amber Alert. They're not going to do that if they thought that one of these parents did something nefarious.
Yes. Now, also, I want to answer this. Canadian cat lady. Okay. This seems to be what pro-Seth people, no disrespect, keep saying. Let me ask you a question. Do you think Katie is the only mother that's ever been at home with a child before they ran away? I want you to stop and think about your friend group and the people who are parents. And out of those parents, how many of their kids have run away at some point? Okay, now take that and I want you to think about, do you think that we should throw each one of those parents in jail because they were the last one to see their kid before they ran away? You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. You know, and right, they just decided they do, cat lady. I'm going to ask you a question respectfully, Canadian cat lady. Do you have children? I mean, do you? Because you seem to, I don't understand this. It's obvious to me you're not a parent, right? I'm going to tell you why. You're not a parent because a true parent would never look at another parent and say, you must be guilty because your kid ran away in the middle of the night.
Well, I won't go that far. I won't go that far because Clue and I are parents, and quite frankly, we've done that.
What?
accused, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I can't get down with you on that, right?
But when you step back, dude, I used to run away, or not run away. I used to literally speak out of my house all the time with one dad, one mom, and one little brother home. No one ever knew a fucking thing. Like, it is, and I'm talking about at the age he is.
Well, and I think, what we do or don't do is 100% triggered on emotional response, right? The reason we were so accusatory, and hell, I mean, in all fairness, still are a lot of times, is because it's an emotional response to wanting to see him come home, wanting to see this situation come to an end, right?
And we're also assuming that this is the first time Sebastian ever snuck out of the house in the middle of the night, guys. Y'all are assuming that Sebastian's just incapable of doing anything. Y'all are acting like he's in a fucking wheelchair.
I know, it makes me so mad. Like, that anger. If you watch him in those videos that Katie has shared, like, I'm telling y'all, he has his own...
I'm sorry, who shared them? I'm sorry, who shared those videos?
Katie. And
Katie.
like, especially what, right, when he turns around and he's like, you got wrecked, Mom. You can tell he has his own attitude. If you listen to Chris speak about him, he says all the time, he is so good at, like, and Katie has said the same thing. He is so good at coming off with, like, one-liners. Even she was like, did you just burn me? Like, okay. Like, he has his own little personality. Someone who develops their own personality is more than capable of saying, you know what, I'm out.
Well, and that's what I'm getting at, right, is I think there's a lot of information out there that we can process about him that is fact-based, right? Or at least uncontested. There's some that's contested, and for me, we have to take that and just sort of set it to the side and look at what we know that's either fact-based in photos, videos, things like that, and look at the uncontested information, meaning information that both sides have given that matches up, and say what can we do with that? Because I mean, we're well over 90 days in, and all we've done is beat the hell out of the parents and everything they've said. And at the end of the day, it hasn't helped. We haven't found Sebastian. We haven't moved the needle one fucking inch.
Listen, Miranda, I will agree with that partially. I will say that it does seem a little less likely, for me personally, that he left to go outside without the intention of beating up with somebody. I think he absolutely had the intention of beating up with somebody. Now, who is that somebody? That's the question. But I want to refer y'all back. I can say this as much as I can, and a lot of people won't listen to me. But refer back to the first interview that Robin Rogers did with, what's her name? The one that's always out searching, finding pants and shit.
Terry Lynn.
Yeah, the very first interview that she did at all was with Terry Lynn. Go listen to that interview and then come back and talk to me. Tell me how you feel about it then. Because that interview told us so much about Seth's side and the way that Seth's side thinks and the way that Seth was raised without ever talking about Seth at all. So go listen to that. And then let me know what you think. What's up, Truth Seeker? What's up, everybody coming in? Appreciate you. Because that's at the end of the day, that's what you got to do. I'm going to go do it today. I was pointed out that I was wrong about something, so I'm going to go listen to it again so I can know for myself whether I was wrong or not. Even though I trust Cletus and Clue, I still want to go listen for myself because that's what we're responsible to do. We're not responsible for what everybody else says. We're responsible for what we say. So do a little bit of research. And that doesn't mean listen to a bunch of different YouTube channels. It means go put in the work and look. And I don't get it. Here's the thing. We also have assumed that nobody came into the house and got him. Okay? We're also assuming that nobody else knew the front door code, which we know is probably not likely. I would tell you that I'd be willing to bet my entire bank account that Seth knew the front door code to that house.
Oh, I would, like I said last night, like if he was there waiting for him when he got off the school bus, he could have very easily just watched him say, Sebastian's like, well, I want to get my book or something, right? My whatever. He could have easily stood behind him and watched him punch that code into that door 150,000%.
Or just ask him.
Learn the layout of the house. You know what I mean? And there's nothing to say that Chris and Katie didn't even give him the code.
I mean, if y'all want to go down this alley just for a second, let's think about something. Who has more access? So last night we were reviewing the live that happened with Blinkerhead, Lanonza, and essentially what was said was that, oh shit, I lost my train of thought. What were we just talking about? Get me back on point.
With the front door lock.
So you're telling me that it is zero possibility that the man who says he's surrounded by murderers and people going to prison for a long time, which, by the way, is bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay? It is bullshit. He is a jail guard. He's not a corrections officer. He's not in the prison. He is in the county jail.
Well, that doesn't mean that he's not surrounded by the people he said. It just would imply that.
It's not to the extent, because that's not the way that jail is set up. You don't have different pods for different crimes. Okay, that's not how National Jail is set up. Everybody, unless you're in protective custody, is in the same units. So you're not just protecting, I'm rounding up to murderers. If they're a murderer and they're convicted, which would make them a murderer upon conviction, then they would only be there a short time before they were shipped off to the penitentiary.
Yes, he does still have a point, though. If they're being held there until trial, he is still around them.
If they're not movers, if they haven't been convicted of a crime yet.
No, I mean, that's fair. That is fair.
I don't see it. I see what y'all are saying.
Well, I see that, right? They're not convicted. I mean, the odds are he's around a lot of nefarious people that have yet to be convicted, but that are, in fact, guilty of doing some nefarious shit.
Julian, to correct you, he is a deputy sheriff. but it's not law enforcement in Davidson County. This is what people are having such a hard time understanding, and so I have to reiterate it as much as possible. Davidson County, Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, Davidson County Sheriff's Department is the only sheriff's department in the United States that the sheriff's department is not law enforcement. Okay, I'll say it again. Is not law enforcement. They only deal with civil situations, i.e. evictions, civil warrants, things like that. They only deal with transport of inmates from the jail to the courthouse and from the jail to doctor's appointments. Also, most of y'all don't know that the inmates don't even have to leave and go out into public because the tunnels go from the jail to the courthouse. So they never get transported in a bus from jail to the courthouse. They just walk underneath the street. Right? So you're not doing transport in a vehicle like that. So, in my understanding, Seth didn't even carry a firearm because as a guard, you don't carry a firearm. The only sheriff's deputies that carry a firearm are the civil warrants unit, the protection jail unit, or the courthouse unit, meaning your bailiffs and your courthouse sheriff's officers. They carry guns. But other than that, nobody else does. So, when you keep hearing Seth say that he's law enforcement, he is not. Not in the sense that you and I think of law enforcement. He is an accredited, he did pass the POTS, he did pass the program, but he was not hired as law enforcement. So for him to keep saying that he's law enforcement is actually a felony. That's it. You can't sit here and say that you're law enforcement when you're not. What does all this have to do with the situation? Well, Kat, I don't think you really care what it has to do with the situation because you have your mind already set up. You made that very obvious. So then why ask me, what this has to do with the situation? You don't care what I have to say about the situation because your mind is made up. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me to answer that question, here's the thing. Maybe I need to go back to the beginning of this and repeat myself. I do not think that Chris Proudfoot, Katie Proudfoot, or Seth Rogers did anything to their son initially. I think the door is open that possibly he could have been found while people were searching and other decisions were made. I think that's a possibility. But do I believe that there was any plan or intention to get Sebastian out of that house that night like any other three guys? No, I don't. So, you're sitting here defending Seth, and I'm sitting here defending Sebastian. There's a difference. Exactly. I'm not saying recreate Seth. If you want Seth, that's fine. But hold Seth to an appropriate standard. You can't imagine people are going to believe what you're saying when you're lying about what you do for a living. It's like anybody can look up that he's not a police officer. Someone's saying you're law enforcement. You're not. In the same place, you're disrespecting law enforcement and saying they're not shit.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I don't know how we could put their assumption is use law enforcement how to give credibility when some people say law enforcement is doing a good job. Right? But, at the end of the day, I get it. People are false parents, and they're not going to know.